Hey guys, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I had this topic on my mind for a while now, and it's crazy because I literally just saw a tweet, and the tweet said, why does it appear that our generation, millennials, are so hurt, are so upset, are so angry, are so tired? And speaking as a millennial, I personally believe that we are the generation that is breaking all of the curses, the traumas. Like, we're literally the generation who has the tools. We were given the tools. We were the selected generation to have the tools so that the future generation doesn't have to endure what we endured. But even though we have the tools, we now have to utilize those tools, unlearn everything, relearn everything before we're able to then pass those tools on to the younger generation. Also, as children, we were outside. We kind of got the best of both worlds because we got the outside portion and we kind of got to go into the technology, the digital world, right? But we also had access to certain shows. We had access to maybe seeing our parents, go out, have a good time. It was great. So in our minds, we weren't trying to grow up really quickly, but we were excited for certain things. Like, you would watch a show like Girlfriends, man, you can't wait to start working so you can meet your girlfriends out for lunch. You couldn't wait to hang out, go to the club with your girls, go on dates, get really cute, all of those things. And it's just like, we see, people getting homes, they're living in or condos, they're getting into relationships. It looked great. It looked like a good time. And we never saw our parents really struggle like that. Yeah, there might be thinking about it now as an adult, there might have been certain things that was kind of like, okay, well, that was a indication. But as far as we were concerned, they just made it look so easy. So we were prepared to go into adulthood and rock it. We were prepared to okay, we're going to get a place by this age. We're going to be, going on lunch dates with our homegirls. We're going to be meeting our men for lunch dates. They're going to come to our job with flowers. We had this expectation of what adulthood will look like. And boy, were we hoodwinked. Man, I tell you, things went left. The housing market, shit. The rental market, shit. People's ideologies of what happiness looks like is warped. A lot of people are more concerned with what they can get out of people than what they can get from people. Let me repeat that. People are more concerned about what they can get out of people than what they can get from people. Let me explain. People who are more concerned with what they can get out of them, that is more on a level of selfish gain. Oh, I can get luxury items out of you. Oh, I can get trips out of you. Oh, I can get, sex out of you. As opposed to, I can get love from you. I can get safety from you. I can learn from you. That's not what we're focused on. And then a lot of people now, because we're given tools, right? These tools are not only for how to deal with these issues, these tools are also bringing our issues to the forefront. For example, shadow work. Shadow work is a practice where you are literally bringing your shadow, looking at your shadow And when I say looking at your shadow, you're not just looking at the reflection of self, you're looking at your internal self. Meaning, a lot of things that we buried deep into our soul is coming out. And in order for us to properly heal, to move forward, we now have to deal with the shit that we dealt with in our childhood, in our teenagehood, young adulthood. So on top of the rental market being bad, on top of, having to have I don't want to call it a burden, but having the opportunity to be the person that has to now break these generational traumas. Now you're almost a target for people who are not interested in that. So now you become an enemy. Then you have the work market is getting so bad. It's hard to find a job. We're literally witness to so much terrible things that are happening in the world. Not to say that they weren't happening before, but we weren't so able to see it. It wasn't so easily accessible to see. Now we see it all the time. So it's so hard to picture the life that we thought we would have had when the reality of our adulthood is so dark. And as much as we want to break generational traumas, we also have people who are so afraid that they don't even want to continue their lineage. They don't even want to have children. They don't even want to be in a relationship because they are so afraid. They don't have the trust. They don't know if they're doing all this work on themselves and they're going to come across somebody who's going to undo all the work. The adulthood life looked so bright when we were kids. So we were ready. We were so excited. We weren't trying to grow up really quickly, but it was just an exciting thing to work towards. Man, when I get older, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But we didn't count on all of, the issues that we're having with the rental market, with the jobs, with all of this crime, with, these wars and all sorts of things. And mental health is an issue. And we don't have enough resources to combat the issue the way it needs to be combated. So it's really up to us as millennials to really break down the foundation that we thought we had and start a new foundation and build on that. And I love the fact that we have podcasts that actually express the reality of mental health and mental wellness and how important that is. And I want to shout out a couple podcasts that I feel like you can really gain that knowledge. The first podcast I want to shout out is the Black People Check-In podcast. That podcast is two Black men who provide a vulnerable and safe space to discuss many different topics. But they talk about mental health, the importance of tending to your mental health, and how overlooked it is, especially in the Black community. The second podcast I want to shout out is the I'ma Speak podcast. That's a podcast where it's a strong Black woman and she takes our day-to-day news and she breaks it down in such a manner that makes you think beyond the headline. And I just believe that even though there's a lot of fluff in the world right now, if you really, really, really keep your ears to the streets, there is some hidden gems. And I think at this point, it is our responsibility to ensure that we are digesting more progressive information for our mental, our spiritual, and our emotional diet. It's literally on us, and we got this. It's going to be hard. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have bad weeks. We're going to have bad months. And hell, we might even have some bad years. But that does not mean that we need to have a bad life. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and cheers to a new episode.